Hi, my name is John Olsheimer, and I'm a credit expert who contributes to creditcardinsider.com. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below. Today's question is this: how do I get rid of a penalty APR? Well, before we answer the question, let's define a penalty APR. When you apply for a credit card and the credit card issuer opens it, they will assign an initial set of terms to the account. Things like your credit limit, and the interest rate are the two that are most relevant to most credit card users. The interest rate on most credit cards is going to run you in the neighborhood of 15 to 16%, depending on who you believe, and that is going to be either your fixed interest rate or your variable interest rate for the foreseeable future as you're using the card over the years. All credit cards have what's referred to as a penalty APR, or a penalty annual percentage rate. The penalty APR is a punitive modification, if you will, to your original interest rate, and it will essentially increase it, and in some cases it will increase it almost up to 30%. So it's turning the interest rate on any new purchases, not retroactive purchases, but any purchases from that point forward. Carrying the debt on those purchases is going to be serviced under the new penalty interest rate, which is considerably higher. Why in the world would they do this? Well, the reason it's called a penalty APR is because you have done something that they would like to penalize you for that they did not want you to do. And in most cases, the reason that the credit card issuer will jack up your rate from the original rate to the penalty APR is because you have missed a payment. And when you miss a payment, that means you're an elevated risk, and an elevated risk is a more expensive customer to have for an issuer. And so to help subsidize their risk of doing business with you, continue to do business with you, is that they're going to make you pay a much higher interest rate on any new purchases, and that higher interest rate is commonly referred to as the penalty APR. So how do I get rid of the penalty APR? Well, it's difficult to do so. However, if you will continue to make your payments on time instead of missing your payments, and essentially, and this is going to have to apply across all of your accounts, not just that one particular card, because they can increase your interest rate because you've missed payments on other cards and other loans, not just because you've missed payments on their card or or with that particular credit card issuer. So you're essentially going to have to go back to them sometime after they've increased the APR and almost throw yourself on the sword, if you will, and ask them, hey, will you reconsider this APR? Can you lower it back to the original APR? Believe it or not, what you have just done when you've asked them to do so, you've just applied for credit, because you're asking them to modify the terms of the account in such a way that they're going to want to take a look at your credit reports and scores. If your interest rate at the penalty APR is 29.9% or something like that, which it generally is, and you ask them to reconsider that and lower it back down to 15%, you're basically asking them to cut the interest rate in half. And that's not something that they're going to do just because they're in a good mood that day. They're going to want to pull your credit report, see if your credit scores are actually much better than they were when they increased your APR to the penalty APR. I can tell you from experience, not personal, but as being a longtime industry insider, that generally does not work. And the only way you're going to get yourself out from underneath that penalty APR in many scenarios is to move your business to another credit card, which has got its fleas as well. If you're going to transfer balances, there's generally a fee associated with balance transfers, usually about 3% of the balance. If you are going to transfer a balance, especially a large balance, you're going to have to open a card that has enough of a credit limit to accept the entire transfer. You're also going to have good enough credit in order to be able to open that card. So it's not just as simple as moving a balance from one card to another. Generally speaking, it's easier to avoid the penalty APR than it is to ask them to do away with the penalty APR. But you can absolutely ask. It's completely free. Just call the number on the back of the card. But I just want to suggest that you're reasonable with your expectations. And it's very unlikely that it's going to work, but you should absolutely try. If you have any other questions pertaining to credit or financial topics, then please submit them to creditcardinsider.com or in the comments section below. Have a great day.